to include your school model and your school name. I think most of you have done that before, so just go ahead and take a moment to do that. And then in the room today, we're a little short. Beth is out sick, unfortunately, so we're gonna do our best to cover for her today. And then Kelly was at a site visit earlier this morning, so she's in the car somewhere right now. And I think Buffy will be joining us soon, so she'll be in the room. Oh, there she is. So, and of course, Dan and Annie and I are here. So today we're going to do some very quick program updates. We don't have a lot to do there, but it'll take a few minutes. And then we are so grateful to both Klickitat and Willapa for offering to share today 2 of our priority schools. So they have lots of consecutive years of experience with financial aid. And so again, thank you, Donna and Anne, for volunteering to be our first 71428s. And you probably remember that a lot of you had feedback at our last couple of workshops that you wanted more time to hear from each other. And so we thought the coffee breaks would be a great opportunity to do that. And so that's the invite that we'll be putting out again at the end of this session. Then we're going to do just some quick breakouts for technical assistance. We'll have 3 breakouts. 1 for expenditures and reimbursements, 1 for financial aid, and 1 about 7th year specifically. So you will be invited to join a breakout room that fits what you're most interested in talking about today. And then we'll wrap up. So we are scheduled for 45 minutes today. We think that's about the time that it will take, but we'll see when we get there. So the first update is on behalf of Beth. So I think if I look around the room, I think all of you, there might be a couple of new people, but most of you are probably familiar with the NCEP Study Lab courses. So NCEP is the National Council for Community and Education Partnerships. They support Gear Up programs across the country. And one of the things that they do is provide an opportunity for professional development. All of the courses are about 4 to 6 hours. They do have an assessment at the end, and you earn a certificate when you successfully complete that assessment. And we will pay for any courses that you or anyone in your school wants to take. So we hope that you will open this up to other folks in your building. There are classes that are appropriate for administrators, counselors, teachers, support staff, and of course, our Gear Up team members. So I'm sure that Beth will put this in the bulletin as well, but there's a link in this slide so that you can go look at the courses offered, and then what you'll do is email Beth and let her know you're interested, and she'll get you signed up and shepherd you through that process. And then you'll have until June 30th to complete those courses. By doing it this way, the courses are much cheaper. So we'll enroll you and we will pay for those courses. And I know a lot of you have that in your work plan as an activity for this year. So just wanted to give you that nudge and then watch for a follow-up email from Beth about that. We've had quite a few questions about the work plan and budget revision process this year because we did change it up a little bit. Hoping to help streamline that process and reduce the number of revisions that we're processing each year. So as a reminder, December 31st is not that far away, but everyone has the opportunity to do 1 revision before that deadline. And if you have TBD funds in your budget, they do need to be assigned by that date. So if you have that unassigned money, it's time to start thinking about where you'll use it, what activities you want to support with those funds. Then the next quarter will be January to March. And so you'll have that quarter to again submit 1 revision during that time, and then the final one by June 30th. So as a reminder, if you're going to add or delete any activities that requires our permission, because you're contractually obligated to do everything that's in your plan, and you don't have permission to do anything new until that revision is processed, and we can't approve things retroactively, so we can't backdate them. So please make a plan to work with your team over the next few weeks so you can submit a revision if needed. And then there's a link to that form it's in the grant managers section of our website. I'll turn it over to Annie now.
Awesome. Next slide, please. Just gonna talk about some 7th year stuff. Dan has, of course, drilled in the saying, repeat to remember. And we feel like because this is such a big shift for all of us, or most of us, or some of us, it's not as big as we really think it is. We just want to repeat to remember, so we're all on the same page. So when it comes to priority schools and 7th year, it's really business as usual. You're going to have one more year to serve students, the same grade band. So just know that really next year is business as usual. The slight difference is that there's going to be a continued and maybe increased expectation around serving the class of 2023. So maybe because you've worked with these students so long, they'll be reaching out to you a little bit more. But especially in that summer 2023, we want to make sure that you are available to that class of seniors that is heading out into their post-secondary pathways. The great opportunity here for you is that you do have a chance to hand off some of these students to regional coordinators and peer mentors where those services will be provided. So on the 3rd slide of this kind of section, we'll talk a little bit more about where those institutions are, and you can look directly at that map. So if a student is going off to a school where we're providing 7th year services, you can absolutely hand them off and those students will continue to receive support. Otherwise, you'll do a lot of the same kind of in-community support that we know you've been providing to students as they have graduated from your high school campus. All right, next slide, please. And then with cohort schools, you are going to have a little shift in what you're doing. So you're going to continue to provide Gear Up services, but just to the cohort of seniors that is the class of 2024. You, just like the priority schools, will continue to stay connected to that class of 2023 as they reach out to you. But again, you're going to be passing those students off to regional coordinators where 7th year support is provided. So again, 11 institutions across Washington state will be having regional coordinators connected to, and some of those campuses will have peer mentors. Some, most, maybe all will have peer mentors. So hopefully that helps kind of, again, just revisit what 7th year will look like, and happy to talk more in that breakout room. And if you have another breakout room you want to go to, please shoot me an email if you're feeling confused or want a little more insight into what that will look like. And then on the next slide, we just have a reminder of where our selected institutions are. So Grace Harbor, Western Washington, Whatcom, Central, Eastern, Wenatchee Valley College, the Spokane Community College System, WSU Vancouver's campus, Clark, Everett, and Highline Community Colleges. All right, that's all from me.
Well, thanks so much, Annie. And you did a great job there, kind of going back and talking through that 7th year piece that's happening. We know it's kind of new on some folks' radar. And that's why, again, we're just going to keep kind of pushing that out so we get clarity. Feel free to constantly ask your questions our way. So we, on behalf of the Gear Up team, again, we want to thank our 2 schools who have volunteered to step into the slot and do the 7-14-28. And the first one that we have scheduled are our friends down in Klickitat. And so I'm going to hand things over to Donna, make sure she gets unmuted when she gets ready to go, and we'll take off from there. Donna, you're up.
Okay, I'm ready. So first I'm going to have to apologize. I have a cold and I'm trying to make it through 7 minutes of not coughing and blowing my nose. So,
Oh, go ahead and unmute again, Donna.
Oh, sorry. So you didn't hear my spiel about my cold, and I'm going to try not to cough and blow my nose. And
yeah, but you're just doing repeat to remember.
Yes. All right. So before COVID, what we used to do for FAFSA night or FAFSA days is we would set aside 3 or 4 hours on our early release day, which was Wednesday. And we would invite all the senior parents and the kids, and we would go into the computer lab. And the day before, we would have our IT tech come in and make sure that all the desktops were up and running and everything else. It was really hard for the parents to get in during the day because, you know, everybody's working and stuff. Some of them could get in, some of them couldn't. We tried to appeal to with food. So first thing in the morning, because we started at 8:30, we had coffee, donuts, fruit for early ones. And then, I don't know, the whole town is crazy about Chinese food. So we offered a Chinese lunch and we'd get about 50% or something, but it was like half the time, I don't know if it was because we were trying to do it early, and this was when they had the January 1st, but the whole website would just shut down. We tried to get somebody from our local community college to come over that knew how to do the FAFSA and everything if there were any questions, and that was kind of hit and miss, and sometimes he could come, sometimes he'd have to leave early. So I didn't feel like the FAFSA was really very successful as a group. Mrs. Bales, our counselor, used to try to connect with individual parents that couldn't have filed for it. And so usually she could get it, but sometimes it was not. Okay, next. And then COVID hit. Next, notice 6 feet apart. So what I would start to do last year was about 3 weeks before, I'd fill out the facility use for our library, put it on the calendar. Ever since COVID, we've had Chromebooks, so the kids have their own laptops that they could bring, and they're all up to date and everything else, so it wasn't a problem. I'd meet the seniors the 3 weeks before and ask them what they wanted for dinner. Shockingly, it was Chinese food. I'd pass out the information, those little orange cards that you guys sent out with just all the information they needed to bring. And I would even, you know, we'd go over it. I'd call the parents and I'd tell them about the time, the date, what's for dinner, what the kids need to bring. And I would also tell them that I'd already talked to the kids and they could ask for information too. Okay, next. And then, I would call the Chinese restaurant and I'd talk about how much I have in my budget for it. And they would send me a menu and what they could do. And then I would sit with the seniors and I'd say, well, this is what they can do. What do you guys want? All right, now next. And then a week before, I check in with the seniors, make sure everything's still okay with them. Check in with the parents. I also mailed out invitations with that little orange card again, so that they had a kind of a reminder of what they needed to bring. Check in with the restaurant, make sure they're still like okay with, you know, all the food that we'd ordered. I'd send out Christina sent me a FAFSA link because my FAFSA night is tonight. So last year was very successful, and I'm thinking this year will be just the same. But I have Christina's link she'd sent me, and so I had sent that out. And then I talked to the principal because we have a smart board, so they could set it up so that Christine can come over. So if there's any problems with it's not just straightforward with the parents and their incomes and stuff, then Christine, last year, we were able to break out into rooms, and then if the parents had specific questions on some troubling things or something, they could get help. And then everybody that we had 6 seniors, 5 of them finished the FAFSA in like 20 minutes. The one wasn't going to go to any schools, so I couldn't talk her into even just coming in because it's so much fun to fill out the FAFSA. So we had 5 out of 6 of the kids that finished it. This year we have 5. We'll see. I know at least one of them's sick, so we'll see. Hopefully I have a lot. I don't know, is that it? Oh, the night of, I set up tables. This is from last year. Put out some refreshments, make sure the smart board's up and running. I have to go pick up the Chinese food this afternoon. I'd bring that out for dinner after they get done. They can sit and they can either take it with them or they can sit and just talk amongst each other. And like I said, last year, 5 out of 6 seniors attended. And that's it.
Thanks so much, Donna. We're going to have a breakout with financial aid a little bit later. And so, but if there are any killer questions that are needing to be answered by Donna at this time, anyone have anything? Going once, going twice, because we're preparing for Ann Taylor to hop in here next from Willapa Valley. Ann, When you're ready, go ahead and unmute yourself and take it away. Thanks so much, Donna.
Donna, I want to tell you you're wonderful. 5 out of 6 sounds fabulous. I would be so excited. So I go into the senior class, getting parents to come even before a volleyball game, in between a basketball game, doesn't seem to go for us. They all feel like they've had it done. They've done it with their older students, or they're just too busy. So I go into the senior class. It's their current world problems financial aid class by semesters. And the first thing I tell them is that, and I think this is really important because I tell it to them at least 7 times, hoping they'll learn it, that they're not on a plan anymore. It's not first, second, third, fourth, everything's going straight. From now on, the plan can be they go to school 3 months and work 9 months. I mean, I give them different examples of people I know. I tell them plan A, B, C, D, E, and F is okay in this instance. You need a lot of plans. Life happens. So I think that's probably the most important thing I tell them. Not that they hear it, but I hope. Keep going. This is a 2.5-minute video. It's put on by the federal government, I believe, and it is really sweet. It pushes the FAFSA ID. It takes them step by step. It's real sweet. We watch it. I play it at least 3 times. One we watch, 2 we start doing it, and while they're working through it, it does it again, and they can watch it again. It's a really nice, sweet little video that gets them through the FAFSA, okay? It does give them the belief that it won't take long. And even now we're finding to get the FAFSA ID takes like 15, 20 minutes just because they have to verify on their phones, verify on their email, got to remember the right email. And so I had to prepare them for that. You have to tell them the government needs security. Then we played this game, and I sent it to Beth, this worksheet, if you're interested. It's not an electronic game for the sole purpose that if my kids get on electronics, who knows what they're doing, they're checking their email, blah, blah. So, and it's a good old fashioned, you have a dice, and it comes out of the University of Arizona's Take Charge Today financial program, which is one of the best I found in curriculum. I really like their financial literacy program. If you want to check it out, it's free to any teacher. But they roll the dice and it tells them if they're single or they're married or if they're engaged, if they're living in a trailer or in a mansion. And as they're going through this, and I walk around and keep saying, life happens. That's what happens. Today you had a job and tomorrow your company closed down. And it just gives them, I don't know. I have not ever had a class that didn't really enjoy this and walk away going, oh, can you believe that? And then usually a few students will stand up and talk and say what they had. And we talk about, does that happen? Yeah. Okay. So that's a game that I highly recommend. This is electronic, same kind of thing, but it's electronic reality check that's just really easy to do. I have the students do this also in this class. Next. Okay, so and then this is a book that we got. I really like it. It's like 4 or 5 pages. It's fabulous because it's really easy to read. If you read a section, they get gift. I have a little box of stuff they each get. And so they read, so then they listen to each other because they're reading. And when they're done with their section, I highlight what was really important. But if you've seen the booklet, it is just real simple. Hits only the main start for should be from the date the plan was just approved. Start date for revision. Okay, sorry. Okay, onward. So I recommend highly this booklet. Yes. Next. And then we go into making our FAFSA. So that's, I think that pretty much does it. Next. And that's it.
Ann, thanks so much for walking us through that. And just so everyone knows, we purposefully did not want to watch all of those videos because those links are going to be included in this presentation that will get sent out to you. And if you haven't already seen them, you can utilize those links so that you can check out those videos on your own. They're all really well done, easily to understand, and so forth. All right, any burning questions for Ann as we get going? I see thumbs up there, that's good.
And where did you get the, or where did you find that dice game, the page?
The game?
Yes.
Well, I put it on the video and I sent a PDF copy to Beth, but if you just send me your email, Donna, I'll send you this PDF.
Okay.
I can do it today.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks so much for following up on that. Annie, I'm going to pass it back over to you so you can talk us through our open space, our breakout sessions.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Next slide, Marcy. I think we are going to jump into breakout rooms here. I'm going to open all the rooms and you can select which one you want to hop into. Marcy, can you remind me, are we having a time limit on this?
Yes, I think we have time for about 12 minutes.
Awesome.
And we'll come back in, and people that came to that room, that is helpful, and it is encouraging that communication and helping make sure that Gear Up expenses are what we're being billed for and are on there, and it gives them time to review that. So that was really encouraging, because it was kind of a big ask, I think, to add that process, but we know how important it is. So great. Thank you for that feedback, and thanks, Buffy, for making that improvement.
Thanks. I also know that sometimes perhaps people see my emails and they're like, oh, what does she want? And I feel that way when I send them, just so you all know. But it's really hard. It breaks my heart when I have to say that's not in your plan. It might have been last year, but it's not this year. And I think this step will help us alleviate that to where you look in the plan. Oh, there it is. Here's the number. And if it's not, then we need to kind of work on that. But before I get the paperwork and you guys get the email that says, sorry, I know that was $4,000, but I can't cover it. That I don't love saying it. I'm sure you don't love hearing it. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be a good thing. But if you guys have any even better ideas on how this is all handled, please let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Buffy. Share out from my group is just, we have a few points of clarification, which is awesome. I'll circle back to Marcy and share out anything that feels really broad and general to all of you around 7th year and eligible expenditures and all that. And then the other thing I just want to say is I've been meeting with our regional coordinators the last few weeks, and I'm going to continue to next week. And it's been awesome just chatting with you all. I know you all, and I've known you for a while, but just to be able to build those relationships up has been really cool. And I'm already experiencing that shift, which is awesome. So just want to encourage the rest of you, regional coordinators and otherwise. I just want you to know that I'm here to support you in whatever the 7th year looks like. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm super excited about moving forward with this, and just want to make sure it's a really awesome experience for all of us, but especially you. So thanks all. And I'll pass it to you, Dan.
Thanks, Annie. Yeah, I think in our financial aid breakout, one of the things that was a big highlight was that Pateros is sharing that they've got 50% of their folks done with FAFSA. So they're turning and burning out there. So congratulations. And then one of the things that Neil had asked a question about was, he was like, what about kids going to a college up in Canada? Because Blaine is all the way up there, Now I thought, wow, I've never even thought about that. And just the different options that the students who live further up, towards the Canadian border have at their fingertips. So that was kind of an interesting concept there. So the other thing that came up too was the topic of the SAT and the ACT, and we know that our institutions in Washington State are moving away from those. But at the same time, I think it's always prudent to follow up and say, make sure you're checking what college you're looking at and just verify, right? Trust, but verify. And of course, it could be a college out of state, that may be requiring it. So good discussion in our group. Thanks, Annie. I'm going to pass it over to you, Marcy. One more thing, since I got the microphone. I'm like halfway through site visits. And I'm going to be reaching out to those of you who I haven't spoken with yet, but for those that I've visited, thank you so much for your hospitality and making it all happen. I've been really enjoying the time spent out in the field. I'm getting to know you better and what's going on in your school. So keep up the good work, everyone. Marcy?
Thanks, Dan. Thank you all for participating today. I hope that Klickitat and Willapa have shown you that 71428 is not the terrifying experience that you might be thinking it is, that it's really helpful. And you know, you all want to hear from each other. So this is always a supportive, giving group. And so Beth is looking for 2 schools to present next month. The topic we've selected is student and family engagement. So that can be wildly interpreted in lots of different ways. So be creative, but please reach out to Beth and volunteer. And if she doesn't hear from any of you, she will be voluntolding people probably. So, so we know you're all doing great things in this area. And I think what she would also say if she were here is that it's also okay to talk about the things that have not gone so well and the lessons learned and how you'll shift in the future. So are there any questions about that? Any lingering questions from anything we've covered today?
Could I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to thank Dan for coming. I don't know if anybody knows, but we've got like we've got one teacher and one principal that has been here more than 2 years. So everybody else is brand new, and Dan did this awesome kind of get to know each other thing. And the teachers are still talking about, I didn't know that you like to do that. And I didn't know you've been there and stuff like that. So it really helped to bring everybody together and kind of, hey, we all like the same stuff sometimes. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate that shout out.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's really good to see everyone today. Thanks for showing up. We appreciate it. Buffy, if you just want to stay on here, we can check in here. We don't have to do another call. Do you have the recording stopped?